Hello, and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show where we talk to you about one cool thing that we've been testing out here in PC Labs. I'm Tom Brandt, this is Matt Buzzy, and for you today we have an Origin gaming laptop.
Da-da.
With some dashes and some EVOs.
Some EVOs, some hyphens, some numbers. It's the EVO15-S specifically. The S stands for slim?
Okay.
Stealth? You decide.
And it is very slim and stealthy, but yes, you should decide. Tell us what you think about this laptop or ask us any questions that you might have in the comments. We will address them as best we can. And if you're watching this later and can't ask us live questions on the comments, maybe you see this on YouTube, definitely come back next week because we will be here next week at 10 a.m. Eastern Time talking about more cool things.
Singular things that are cool.
Yeah, another cool thing.
Yes.
But yes, so let's launch right into this this Origin here. This, I believe, is an extremely thin gaming laptop, and that is because of some sort of technology that lets them cram graphics into
Your
it, right?
instincts are correct, Tom.
Okay.
You said all the technical know-how and all the technical terms. You
Yeah,
nailed it.
right.
What am I even here for? So the EVO15-S is using NVIDIA's new Max-Q. I'd say technology. It's more of like it's more of an initiative that they're doing to service a specific purpose, which is to fit higher-end graphics cards into thinner laptops.
Okay.
Normally, when you get a laptop this thin, it's kind of an ultra portable or general use laptop. It's not really a high-end gaming machine. But with Max-Q, what they've done is tuned down, basically put a cap on the ceiling of these graphics cards to reduce the heat output so that they can fit in thinner chassis, because chassis are usually so big because they have to include cooling, whether to fans or heat pipes for heat dissipation. So because of the Max-Q, which limits the ceiling and the output of the card, they need less cooling, they need less heat dissipation, thus they can make thinner and smaller chassis.
Right.
So the main thing is, why would I want a gimped version, a handicap version of this card? Yeah, you have to value thinness. I think. You have to value portability.
But it's not just thinness and portability. I mean, the alternative here is a big thing, a big honking like gaming laptop that looks like something you would have bought like 20 years ago.
Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want it aesthetically. You're not going to bring it out in public.
Yeah,
and
so
they're usually like 8 pounds.
But and the one thing too to note, this has a GTX 1070 in it, which we should go through all the specs. But you can get a 1080 or
Max-Q versions of
Max-Q
these
versions
cards.
of the 1080 as well. So, but this is pretty good for pretty much anything you can throw at it other than 4K, right?
Yes. So that's Max-Q. So that's a good way to back up.
Yeah.
So it's Max-Q, so that lets it be 4 pounds. It's this nice metal body, kind of a fighter stealth jet kind of situation on the lid. The color, the gunmetal color, it looks nice and it feels nice.
Yeah.
So that's already a point in its column. It's like 0.7 inches thick. As I said, 4.3 pounds, so you can actually tote it around. Battery life is 4.5 hours, which for a gaming machine is also pretty good. So yeah,
what about other specs here? What do we have?
Yeah, so to run down, we got a Core i7 processor. It's at 2.8 gigahertz, speedy, 16 gigs of RAM, also pretty good. The display is 1080p HD. It is 120 hertz. There's a matte finish on it. You can get 2 different versions of the display. They're both not 120 hertz, but there's a matte and a non-matte HD and QHD version.
Interesting.
But no 120 hertz refresh rate, which is a big thing that gamers want for smooth performance.
Yeah, and also gamers typically want matte displays. Why do they offer a glossy one?
Some people prefer, I guess, the look. Matte displays can kind of dull the image a bit.
Oh, I guess, that's
so
true.
it's kind of reflective. So it's a nice option to have. Sometimes I myself don't really love matte displays for that reason, but I see why people go for them.
Keep the reflections off.
Keep the reflection. It does have a big point in its column that was a big factor in giving it the editor's choice. Spoiler, it's an editor's choice product. Is the amount of storage. So the Asus Zephyrus, ROG Zephyrus was our favorite Max-Q laptop previously. It's a little more expensive. That has the Max-Q version of the GTX 1080 in it, so a little more power. But that had only 512 gigs of storage, which is like a little light for a gaming machine. This has that as a boot SSD and a 2 terabyte hybrid drive.
Yeah, and that's actually the ideal combination for a gaming machine, because you don't need to put all of your games on an SSD, but you do need significantly more space than 512 gigabytes if you have like, what, 3 or 4 games.
Right, that's a couple games and like all the programs you use for everything else. You're going to be full in no time.
So the good thing about this is you can put those on that 2 terabyte drive and then use the 512 for your
programs system. And like your select handful of games that run better on an SSD. Like I know PUBG, mine's installed on my SSD because it benefits. There are load times, but most games, especially if they're not newer, don't really need the SSD per se.
Sure. Now, okay, so that's great specs.
Yes.
Looks good. How much do you have to pay for all this?
Yeah, so it starts at $1,600. You can start configuring it, but the price of this model as configured is $2,400, $2,430, I believe, to be exact. So expensive, yeah. Not claiming otherwise, but it is a high-end machine that has all these kind of fancy features. It has a ton of ports, a ton of storage, 120 hertz display. Obviously, the 1070 is a pretty high-end card, even though it's the Max-Q version, so it's, you know.
Yeah, and we actually, you compared this to other 1070 laptops, and, you know, we're looking at the frame rates. It is slightly less than a full-power 1070, but if you're gaming at you know, the full resolution of this screen, I don't think you're going to notice a difference, right?
Yeah, normally you'd be worried, if it was a desktop, you'd be worried, can I do 2K, like QHD, can I do 4K? When it's built into the laptop, you're limited to the laptop resolution, which is HD. So, at HD on our benchmark test, it hit 85, 90 frames per second on the two at ultra settings. So that's obviously higher than the 60 ceiling. You look at the non-Max-Q version of the 1070 and it hits about 100. So there's a 15 to 20 frame per second discrepancy between the full card and the Max-Q card. That's not the end of the world when you're already over. If they were hitting 45 instead of 60, that would be a problem. But it's hitting 80 instead of 100, 85 instead of 100. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and those frame rates again are like kind of, you know, benchmark tests, and so your game might be higher or lower.
Right.
But the good thing about an 85 number on this is that it means there's significant leeway. Like, you know, if you're
not you're not at 61 frames per second. You're not like barely, you know. And yeah, real games do run differently. Every game runs differently. More cutting edge games are going to push it more than you know, less demanding games will, but there is headroom for that. And if you have to turn down a couple settings, it's not the end of the world. It does happen. Not being able to run everything at full all the time, that's a compromise you make, especially when you're compromising for portability and for a nice thin laptop.
Now, if you've just joined us, we are talking about this nice thin laptop. It's the Origin EVO15-S.
Nailed it.
And we would like to have your questions about this or anything else that you might want to throw at us. But one thing that I wanted to say in the meantime is this looks like a really nice keyboard here. What is the keyboard situation, backlighting, things like that?
It is nice to type on. It's got some nice bouncy travel without feeling, you know, cheap or anything like that. It is backlit, but it's backlit across 3 zones, so it's like divided like so. These could be 3 different colors. Right now it happens to be all set to red.
Right. It's pretty rare that we see like per key lighting.
Yeah, like
on
Razer systems always do that, and other than that, it's not really a guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can customize the colors between here, here, and here to be 3 kind of different things. You can do a fade.
These switches are very stable. I mean, it seems like, you know, this is a very well designed layout, even though it's not mechanical switches, which you don't really want on a laptop anyway, because they're so thin.
And they're loud.
Yeah.
If you're bringing them places, then you're that guy with a mechanical
Right,
keyboard.
you're getting all of the noise and none of the benefits of a mechanical switch if you have it on a...
Pretty much. And they managed to fit a full number pad. I know, shout out to all my people who love those numpads.
I do.
Can't get enough of them.
Yeah.
Without making the keyboard cramped, I don't really know how, actually. The keys are a little smaller than average, maybe, but I'm not really sure how they squeeze that on a 15-inch laptop like that.
Well, actually, yeah, so one of the other ones that I've reviewed recently is a power spec machine from Micro Center, which is coming next week.
Please tell us all about that.
But it has a very similar keyboard layout.
Yeah,
and they actually do have that same full-size or not only full-size number pad, but the full-size arrow keys, which
usually those get minimized.
Right, that's like a huge benefit to have these full-size keys here. Let's go ahead and go back to these
let's hit up
performance
some
sections
specific
so we can
numbers.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about frame rates.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you might want to do if you're going to spend $2,400 on a laptop. Hopefully, it's going to do things other than gaming.
Yeah.
So how does it do on other?
As you see, most of the competitors use this exact same processor. The entire chart there is using the exact same processor, making it really easy to compare.
That's a 2.8 gigahertz Core i7 from not the most current generation, but still very fast.
Right. Yeah. The 7700 HQ specifically. All of them use it. It's obviously a popular choice for this tier of laptops, which makes comparisons really easy. And so, despite the thin frame and maybe you're worrying it's overheating or something. As you can see from the scores, no, it's not the fastest one, but it's right in there with everything. It does have the fastest handbrake time. So yeah, it's a perfectly competent machine for just doing your other tasks when you're not playing games. If you're someone who does media projects on the side, you're someone who's editing some video or some photos or what have you on the side, this can also do that when you're not playing games.
Yeah, I mean, from like a catch-all perspective, this looks like an not like an ultra portable, but it is thin and light. It doesn't look particularly gaudy like a gaming laptop sometimes do, and it has all the power that you need to both game and do multimedia creation. So conceivably, if you were prepared to spend $2,400 on a laptop, this could serve both as a normal laptop and a gaming machine.
Yeah, no, I totally like it for that reason. It is borderline ultra portable. It's thin and light enough to be one. The 15-inch size makes it a little bit kind of just unwieldy for that, but throwing this in your bag and taking it to work or whatever would not be out of the question by any means. I do like the design. It's kind of it's just understated enough without being boring. I think there's like enough going on, and as you said, gaudy. There's a lot of ostentatious, a lot of red and black.
Yeah, like red grills. That's the other thing. Their grills are very understated.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the restraint that they showed. Basically, is what I'm getting at here.
Now we would be remiss
on the bottom,
though if we did not talk about ports.
Yes,
because
we would be.
That's very popular.
Because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. Okay. So what have we got here?
I can't see, and I don't remember off my memory alone. USB 3.0, SD card slot, and an Ethernet jack on something this thin.
Yeah.
Another pretty solid.
And they've done something which we've seen lots of times before. They've actually put the Ethernet jack with the little
jaw.
Yeah. Not probably the most durable. Like, you know, if you keep this thing for 15 or 20 years, which, you know, you could. It's a 1070.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already sticking there. Okay, so and we got a lock slot as well.
Right. And then this side has a ton of ports. There's 2 USB-C, 2 mini display, 2 USB 3.0, and an HDMI connection along with the power jack. So that's a lot. You can. How many displays could you hook up here?
Now we have Thunderbolt support, right? Or not?
I don't believe so. No.
No Thunderbolt.
So that's just 3.1s.
So if you have a massive,
I don't think. Double check that, but I don't see the symbol there.
Yeah. If you have a massive gaming collection and an external hard drive, USB 3 is fine, but you won't get that added speed from Thunderbolt.
Yeah. Another note, there is a little scanner here on the touchpad for fingerprint.
You know what? I really don't like this though.
You don't like when it's built into the...
Well, not only that it's built in, but this is one of those things where you have to swipe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those never work in my experience.
Don't have
Maybe it's just because my fingers aren't compatible with
Your hands are too big.
I much prefer the touch, you know, where you don't actually have to swipe your fingers on the touchpad. That said, it looks like we also have a webcam here. Does that have face recognition or?
I don't
maybe
recall
not.
Seeing Windows Hello. It is an itchy webcam.
I mean, one of the cool things now that fingerprints can do is essentially let you log into your laptop as quick as you might on your phone. This one doesn't quite have that, but you know, again, it's a gaming laptop. You're not going to.
I don't think it has Windows Hello, as far as I remember. it could.
Yeah,
maybe it does. Maybe I shouldn't.
Now, probably you're going to have a gaming headset for most of your gaming, but when you're not, you're going to use the speakers here.
Solid enough. Yeah, they sound pretty good. You're not going to get booming audio to something this kind of small, but they're solid. They can fill the room, watch a video, watch a movie. Yeah, most people would play games with a headset or earbuds of some kind, but they do the job.
Okay, so we've got this $2,400 laptop. It's an editor's choice now because it's so thin and light and powerful because thanks to, in part, the Max-Q technology.
Yes.
What if you wanted to spend a little bit more or maybe a little bit less? What are some other laptops you might consider?
There's, like I said, the Asus ROG Zephyrus, if you want to stick on the thin and light, a Max-Q train that has the 1080 Max-Q, so it's a little more powerful than this. That gets you up towards... the Max-Q 1080 is kind of like a 1070. So those are like 100 frames, roughly on the same test. So you know, boost your power. But it is more expensive. You also have, if you don't value portability, because this does have an editor's choice. It is a 4.0 product. I did add the caveat in there that you kind of have to value portability because you are giving up some of the power to get that. So you have to want to take it somewhere with you, I think. So if you don't, the Alienware 15R3 or even bigger, the 17-inch, I believe is an editor's choice, and that's a big boy.
Yeah, I mean those are the types of things that you would buy to put on your desk at home and sometimes take with you, but really
mostly not.
Going for power over portability.
Origin themselves offers a huge 17-inch laptop, and then also an SLI version of that laptop, the 17-inch dual-card monstrosity. It's insane.
Oh, is that the one that has the curved display as well?
No, that's Acer's Predator 21X.
Oh, right, the Predator,
no, that's
that costs as much as the car.
Yeah, no, the Origin Eon 17 SLX with the 2 graphics cards, the 2 power bricks. It's a situation for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of options out there. In the chart, I have it's mostly other Max-Q machines, just for the sake of comparison. It's the Predator Triton 700, which has the glass bar with the touchpad. That's kind of neat. The ROG, as I mentioned, and the Alienware, and then the power spec that you have.
Oh, right,
coming up.
Please do come back next week because we're going to talk about some power spec laptops. If you live near Micro Center,
very specific.
This is a teaser. You can get some amazing value, but there is no Max-Q in those for good reason. Max-Q is expensive. It's expensive to develop. It's named after an aerospace technology. It's extremely expensive, so you won't see that in a cheaper laptop, but you can get similar power from better power from a non-Max.
Yeah, for less. You are definitely paying extra for the size, the form factor, the portability, etc. That's just kind of part and parcel to this. If you want something more simple, always a desktop is the most cost-effective. You can't move it, obviously, but there you go.
Oh, you can move it. We actually tested it just recently. We had a backpack.
You know what? You're right. I shouldn't speak out of turn.
It's easy to move.
Of course you can move computers. What am I talking about?
This is the HP Omen VR backpack. Gaming laptop, essentially, or gaming desktop in a backpack.
Yes. Check out all of PC Mag's social media. You can watch me walk through Manhattan with that on my face.
Indeed.
Yeah, and,
so, do we have any questions about the Origin EVO15-S?
We're good. I guess we just answered them all. That's what I'm going to go with. I'd like to think we were so thorough that they all got answered.
Or no one cares about this.
We answered them all.
Okay.
I'm going with option A, where there is no option B.
So definitely check out the full review of the Origin EVO15-S at PCMag.com.
I worked so hard.
It has a 4-star rating, and we have given it an editor's choice. That said, it may not be for you if you value the ultimate in gaming power.
Yeah, I think the 17-inch Alienware is still the high, because there's kind of like a two. There's like if you care about moving it and if you don't. So yeah.
And definitely stay tuned. Come back at 10 a.m. Eastern Time every day next week. We will be talking to you about one or more cool things.
One or more
cool things that we have to share with you. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you later.